Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves.
Folks, it's Mad Dog Merv, and welcome to today's show. Today we're going to look at some more of the Panther Panthers. Wow, it is so hard for me to even say, let alone try and say it 3 times fast. Anyway, I like to build a lot of Panthers in 35th scale, a lot of the different variants, particularly the experimental ones, the ones that were called paper Panzers. That way, nobody can question whether or not I'm right or wrong, because these are things that either existed on paper or in some form, but really never saw combat. So today, we're going to look at several of the ones that I have done in this part 2 of Paper Panzer Panthers that I have built. So the Panther F kit that you see here, this old one from Dragon, I like it because it's cheap. I think I paid $10 for the kit. And it's based on the Schmalterm that was designed to go on the Panthers. And here is the mock-up. I think it was a wood mock-up they did of it. They actually built one functioning turret, and it was found after the war and used as a target practice. This is in I think the Bovington Museum in England, but there was actually one. So here is the Panther F that I built. It's a steel-wheeled Panther, and I really like how these things look. They're pretty sleek. So to start out, I used the red 2X primer on most of my German armor as a base. Today, we're going to show you the ones we're going to show you. I used the Model Master Panzer Yellow, or Dunkelgelb, I guess is what they call it. The Panzer Olive Grün, or I think it was Olive Grün. And some of them actually have this 1943 variant, which was, I believe, just a tad bit lighter, and we'll show you that here in a minute. And then, of course, the chocolate brown that was used. Nice dark color on most of these. So anyway, I did this particular one with what is known as an ambush camouflage scheme, and I freehanded sprayed this with my airbrush, and then I took a toothpick and I did the little dots. Most of the dots on here are Dunkelgelb dots that I did all over it to give it that ambush scheme. And I really, really like how this scheme looks on this particular tank. And with the steel wheels, yeah, pretty neat. It's supposed to have a 75 millimeter gun without a muzzle brake, and I can't remember the caliber on it, but it was a little bit longer than the standard 75 millimeter. And it did not have an anti-aircraft gun, which I went ahead and grabbed one from the spare parts box. Went ahead and put the Flammvernichters on the back end and made them nice and metal looking, like this thing just barely came out of the shop. A little bit of soot on the muzzle brake, and it completes the ensemble on this one. Great part of the collection. I really do like this one. I've had it for several years. So then there's the Panther II. Now this particular kit, again from Dragon, the wheels are, as I recall, based on the King Tiger wheels, or is it maybe the Tiger wheels? Anyway, different drivetrain, as you can see here, and this particular small term has the 88 millimeter gun added to it. Pretty nice looking. Again, big long gun on this thing. For the green, I just gave it very late war overall green primer and added a little bit of black into that Panzer Olive Grün to get this effect of just a lightly shaded camouflage on it. The tracks are just the DML glue together tracks. To me, they're fine. I don't need the articulated tracks. I know a lot of you guys do like those. I'm just not into them. Went ahead and painted them brown, and well, dressed them up a little bit, and there they are. Now those first two I built about 20 years ago, but this one was a little bit more recent. Now, what I did here is I just had an extra Panther G chassis laying around and an extra turret. Well, because I got so many Panther parts, and I decided what would it look like to do an actual 88 in a regular turret. And it looks really pretty cool. But yeah, I don't think realistically this would have worked ever for them. Would have been too crowded in that turret. But it is pretty cool looking. And the paint scheme is one I just wanted to try out and see how it would look. That dark chocolate brown with the Dunkelgelb next to it, and all of this was freehand airbrushed, by the way. This was one of my first attempts at putting mud on tracks and on a kit. It's just cool looking. Okay, yeah, it's a fantasy, but man, it definitely is a cool looking tank. Again, it's late war Panther, so I've got the Flammvernichters. I've put the barrel cleaning kit back on the rear deck. It's got the crew compartment heater, but this also has, and the spare tracks are on the side of the turret, but this also has a very unique hatch in the back of the turret. I went ahead and took a hatch from a Jagd Panther, and I grafted it in. So you've got that big hairy door back there on the back of the turret. Again, it's all fantasy, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to add this. So to me, this is another very fun part of the collection that is just pure fantasy. Again, woody, the mud that I put on this one. Yeah, pretty neat looking. Okay, so the Night Fighting Panther kit that came out from Dragon. Again, I paid what, $15-20 for this. This has the infrared lenses and the infrared lights on it. So I went ahead and put this together pretty much out of the box, added a few extra tracks to it. You will notice, though, the brown on this is way different from the other ones. I can't remember if this was a military brown or which brown exactly I used, but I wanted something kind of lighter, and it really gave me a unique contrast on this particular unit. I did scratch build this box from balsa wood, which would be your the box that they would hook up their rifles to, that had the infrared capability that they were working on late in the war. So again, really kind of just a fun, neat little what if 1946, Panzer type of thing. The little metal antenna that I tend to put on all of these, and the overall picture, yeah, just kind of a fun part to have in my collection. And again, all these tracks are straight from the box. Now this Bezoib, I don't know, I can't pronounce this thing, but it's a artillery observation Panther. I believe they actually had a couple of these, at least one, but they were like a Panther D that were in action. But this is a Panther G, based on a Panther G. Again, wanted to try a different camouflage. I did add some parts to this from a later version that came out a few years later. One thing I started to do at this point in my builds is I would add some kind of a weapon, usually on the turret, sometimes on the deck. This particular one is one of those anti-Soviet, kind of like an anti-truck, anti-jeep rifle. The thing was really potent. And I stuck that on top just for S&G. Seeing how the gun on the front of this thing is just a dummy gun. Really, it only had its three machine guns, and then of course this this one rifle. So, and the command antenna on it. So, if you look closely at the model, you'll notice that I used that Larry's bathwater for my wash to get down in all of these cracks and crevices, and then I give it a very, very light dry brushing. This particular one has a very light dry brushing of Dunkelgelb that's been lightened with a little bit of light gray. So if you look at those edges and corners, you'll see they are a little bit lighter, and it just kind of pops. Well, that's the technique that I use on pretty much all of these. And I use some pigments for the rust on those spare tracks. So anyway, folks, hope you liked part 2. We'll have another part coming up in the future sometime. And take care. Thanks for watching today.